What if I told you that your grandfather knew life hacks that were so revolutionary they were literally banned by society, and now modern scientists are calling them pure genius? Today we're counting down 25 incredible techniques that our grandfathers used in the 1960s that were considered taboo, dangerous, or just plain wrong. But cutting-edge research proves they were absolutely brilliant. These aren't just nostalgic tricks. These are scientifically validated methods that can transform your life starting today. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're about to reveal secrets that took decades to be understood by mainstream science. And you definitely don't want to miss what's coming at number 1. It's going to blow your mind. Number 25. Cold shower finishing. Your grandfather probably told you to end every shower with 30 seconds of ice-cold water, and everyone called him crazy. Doctors said it was dangerous. Your mother said it would make you sick. And most people thought it was just old-fashioned torture. But recent studies from the Netherlands show that people who take cold showers have 60% fewer sick days and significantly higher levels of norepinephrine, which boosts focus and mood. The cold exposure activates brown fat tissue, increases metabolism, and strengthens your immune system. Scientists now call this hormesis the beneficial stress that makes you stronger. Your grandpa was essentially giving you a daily dose of resilience training that modern biohackers pay thousands to learn. Number 24. Eating the whole egg, including the shell. This one sounds absolutely insane, but hear me out. Grandfathers in rural areas would crack eggs into their morning coffee grounds and drink the whole thing, shell fragments and all. People thought this was disgusting and dangerous, calling it a choking hazard. Modern nutritional science reveals that eggshells are 90% calcium carbonate, the most bioavailable form of calcium for humans. One eggshell provides about 2 grams of elemental calcium, plus trace minerals like strontium and fluorine that strengthen bone density. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin found that powdered eggshell calcium is absorbed better than synthetic supplements. Your grandfather was getting superior bone nutrition while everyone else was throwing away the best part. Number 23. Walking barefoot everywhere possible. Society told our grandfathers to always wear shoes, calling barefoot walking unsanitary and uncivilized. Doctors warned about infections, parasites, and foot injuries. But groundbreaking research on earthing shows that direct skin contact with the earth reduces inflammation by neutralizing free radicals. The Earth's surface carries a negative electrical charge that balances the positive charge buildup in our bodies from modern living. Studies published in the Journal of Environmental and Public Health prove that grounding reduces cortisol levels, improves sleep quality, and accelerates wound healing. Your grandfather's barefoot habit was literally keeping him electrically balanced and healthier than anyone realized. Number 22. Intermittent fasting before meals. While modern dietitians preach 6 small meals a day, grandfathers would often skip breakfast or lunch without thinking twice about it. Society called this irresponsible and unhealthy, claiming it would slow metabolism and cause muscle loss. Nobel Prize-winning research on autophagy now proves that controlled fasting triggers cellular cleanup processes that prevent cancer and extend lifespan. When you fast for 12 to 16 hours, your body switches from glucose burning to fat burning and begins recycling damaged proteins. Your grandfather was accidentally activating the most powerful anti-aging mechanism known to science simply by not eating when he wasn't hungry. Number 21. Sleeping on hard surfaces. Everyone thought grandfathers were crazy for preferring firm mattresses or even sleeping on the floor sometimes. Mattress companies pushed soft, supportive bedding, claiming hard surfaces would damage your spine and prevent proper rest. Japanese sleep research and studies on traditional sleeping practices reveal that firm surfaces maintain proper spinal alignment and prevent the hip and shoulder sagging that causes back pain. Orthopedic specialists now recommend sleeping on surfaces that don't contour to your body because they force your muscles to maintain proper positioning naturally. Your grandfather's uncomfortable bed was actually protecting his skeletal system and ensuring deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. Number 20. Getting direct sunlight without sunscreen. This was perhaps the most controversial grandfather habit, as dermatologists began warning about skin cancer and promoting constant sun protection. Society painted grandfathers as reckless for working outdoors with exposed skin. Current vitamin D research shows that moderate sun exposure without sunscreen is essential for optimal health. 20 minutes of direct sunlight produces more bioavailable vitamin D than any supplement and triggers the production of nitric oxide, which lowers blood pressure. Studies from Harvard Medical School prove that people who avoid sun exposure have similar mortality rates to smokers due to vitamin D deficiency. Your grandfather's sun-loving habits were preventing depression, osteoporosis, and cardiovascular disease. Number 19. Drinking coffee black and strong. While everyone added cream and sugar, grandfathers drank their coffee black as motor oil and twice as strong. Nutritionists called this acidic and harsh, claiming it would damage the stomach and cause heart problems. Modern research reveals that black coffee is one of the richest sources of antioxidants in the Western diet. The chlorogenic acids in coffee protect against type 2 diabetes and liver disease, while the caffeine enhances cognitive function and physical performance. Studies show that drinking 3 to 4 cups of black coffee daily can reduce the risk of Parkinson's disease by 80%. Your grandfather was consuming a powerful neuroprotective beverage while everyone else was diluting its benefits with dairy and sugar. Number 18. Using tobacco for wound care. This one requires serious context, and we absolutely don't recommend smoking. But grandfathers would sometimes use tobacco leaves or even cigarette tobacco to treat cuts and infections. Medical professionals called this barbaric and unsanitary warning about infection and toxicity. However, research into traditional medicine reveals that tobacco contains powerful antimicrobial compounds, including nicotine, which has antibacterial properties. Indigenous cultures used tobacco medicinally for centuries, and studies show that controlled topical application can accelerate wound healing. Obviously, modern antiseptics are safer, but your grandfather was accessing legitimate antimicrobial compounds when proper medical care wasn't available. Number 17. Working with hands constantly. Society began pushing desk jobs and white-collar work, calling manual labor outdated and unnecessary. People thought grandfathers were stuck in the past for insisting on building, fixing, and creating things with their hands. Neuroscience research now proves that complex hand movements stimulate massive areas of the brain, including regions responsible for problem-solving, memory, and emotional regulation. The connection between hand use and cognitive function is so strong that occupational therapy uses hand exercises to treat depression and dementia. Your grandfather's constant tinkering was literally keeping his brain young and building neural pathways that protected against age-related cognitive decline. Number 16. Eating organ meats regularly. While society moved toward muscle meats, only grandfathers continued eating liver, kidney, and heart, calling them the best parts of the animal. Nutritionists labeled organ meats as high cholesterol and potentially dangerous, outdated food choices. Ancestral nutrition research reveals that organ meats are the most nutrient-dense foods on Earth, containing concentrated vitamins, minerals, and compounds not found in muscle tissue. Liver contains more vitamin A than any other food, plus high levels of folate, iron, and B vitamins. Heart tissue provides coenzyme Q10, which supports cardiovascular health. Your grandfather was eating nature's multivitamins while everyone else was missing out on crucial nutrients. Number 15. Taking contrast showers hot to cold repeatedly. Grandfathers would alternate between hot and cold water multiple times during their showers, creating an extreme temperature contrast. Doctors warned this could cause heart attacks or thermal shock, calling it unnecessarily stressful on the cardiovascular system. Research on contrast hydrotherapy shows this practice dramatically improves circulation by causing blood vessels to dilate and constrict rapidly. This vascular exercise strengthens the cardiovascular system, reduces inflammation, and enhances recovery from physical activity. Eastern European athletes have used contrast therapy for decades to improve performance, and your grandfather was accidentally doing advanced recovery protocols every morning. Number 14. Sleeping and waking with natural light cycles. Before electric lighting became dominant, Grandfathers would sleep when it got dark and wake when the sun rose regardless of clocks or schedules. Modern society called this impractical and inefficient, pushing artificial lighting and standardized schedules. Circadian rhythm research proves that aligning sleep with natural light cycles optimizes hormone production, including growth, hormone testosterone, and melatonin. Exposure to artificial light after sunset disrupts these critical processes, leading to metabolic dysfunction and mood disorders. Your grandfather's light-based schedule was synchronizing his biology with natural rhythms that evolution designed over millions of years. Number 13, carrying heavy objects daily. Even when machines became available, grandfathers continued carrying lumber, moving furniture, and hauling materials manually. Society saw this as inefficient and potentially harmful, calling it unnecessary strain on the body. Exercise science now understands that functional movement patterns like carrying and lifting heavy objects are superior to isolated gym exercises for building real-world strength. Loaded carries activate core stabilizers, improve posture, and build the kind of strength that transfers to everyday activities. Your grandfather was doing advanced functional fitness training decades before personal trainers discovered these movement patterns. Number 12. Eating nose to tail, no food waste. Grandfathers used every part of animals they consumed, including bone marrow, cartilage, and connective tissue that modern people throw away. Society called this gross and unnecessary, claiming that muscle meat provided all necessary nutrition. Research on traditional diets reveals that consuming the entire animal provides a complete amino acid profile, plus nutrients like collagen, glycine, and minerals that support joint health, skin elasticity, and gut lining integrity. Bone broth contains compounds that reduce inflammation and support immune function. Your grandfather was practicing optimal nutrition while modern diets lack these crucial components. Number 11. Working outdoors in all weather conditions. While society moved indoors and created climate-controlled environments, grandfathers continued working outside regardless of temperature, rain, or snow. People thought this was stubborn and potentially dangerous, calling it unnecessary exposure to harsh conditions. Studies on environmental adaptation show that regular exposure to temperature variation improves immune function, increases stress resilience, and enhances metabolic flexibility. Cold exposure activates brown fat tissue, while heat exposure improves cardiovascular efficiency through heat shock proteins. Your grandfather was building environmental resilience that protected him against illness and aging. Number 10. Using simple tools and avoiding complex technology. When power tools became available, grandfathers often stuck with hand tools, claiming they did better work. Society called this backwards thinking and inefficient resistance to progress. Occupational therapy research reveals that using simple tools requires more complex motor patterns and cognitive engagement than automated alternatives. Hand tool use develops proprioception, fine motor control, and spatial reasoning, while providing mental stimulation that protects against cognitive decline. Your grandfather was choosing tools that exercised his brain and body simultaneously. Number 9. Walking everywhere instead of driving. Even when cars became common, grandfathers would walk to destinations that others considered too far. Society saw this as stubborn refusal to embrace modern convenience. Research on low-intensity cardiorespiratory exercise shows that regular walking provides more health benefits than intense gym workouts. Walking activates the lymphatic system, improves circulation, supports digestive health, and enhances mood through natural endorphin production. Studies prove that walking 30 minutes daily reduces mortality risk more effectively than any pharmaceutical intervention. Your grandfather was doing the single best exercise for longevity. Number 8. Maintaining strong social hierarchies and respect systems. Grandfathers insisted on formal respect protocols, handshakes, eye contact, and clear social structures. Society began calling these outdated patriarchal systems that needed to be dismantled for equality. Social psychology research reveals that clear hierarchies and respect rituals reduce anxiety and improve group cooperation. When everyone understands their role and shows appropriate deference, social stress decreases dramatically. Traditional masculine respect systems created psychological safety and reduced conflict. Your grandfather understood social dynamics that modern psychology is just beginning to appreciate. Number 7. Doing hard physical labor as primary exercise. Instead of going to gyms, grandfathers got their exercise through farming construction and manual work. Fitness experts claimed that structured exercise programs were more efficient and effective. Exercise physiology now proves that functional work-based movement patterns provide superior fitness outcomes compared to isolated gym exercises. Real work requires coordination, balance, and problem-solving, while building strength that transfers to daily activities. Your grandfather was doing CrossFit decades before it existed, getting paid to exercise instead of paying for gym memberships. Number 6 is eating fermented and preserved foods regularly. Grandfathers consumed pickled vegetables, fermented dairy, and cured meats that society began calling outdated preservation methods. Food scientists promoted fresh foods and refrigeration, claiming fermented foods were unnecessary and potentially harmful. Microbiome research reveals that fermented foods provide beneficial bacteria essential for immune function, mental health, and digestive wellness. The probiotics in traditional fermented foods are more diverse and effective than expensive supplements. Your grandfather was maintaining optimal gut health through foods that modern science now calls functional medicine. Number 5. Prioritizing protein and fat over carbohydrates. While society embraced processed grains and sugar, grandfathers continued eating meat, eggs, and animal fats as dietary staples. Nutritionists promoted high-carbohydrate, low-fat diets, calling animal foods unhealthy and outdated. Metabolic research proves that protein and healthy fats provide superior satiety, stable blood sugar, and better body composition than carbohydrate-based diets. The brain runs more efficiently on ketones from fat metabolism than on glucose from carbohydrates. Your grandfather was following an optimal human diet while everyone else was getting addicted to processed foods. Number 4. Maintaining strict daily routines and rituals. Grandfathers followed rigid schedules for waking, eating, working, and sleeping, even when flexibility became socially acceptable. Modern culture promoted spontaneity and freedom, calling strict routines boring and limiting. Neuroscience research on habit formation reveals that consistent routines reduce decision fatigue, conserve mental energy, and improve performance across all life domains. Successful people in every field follow strict morning and evening routines because they automate basic decisions and create mental space for important choices. Your grandfather was optimizing cognitive resources through behavioral consistency. Number 3. Building and maintaining everything personally. Even when professional services became available, grandfathers insisted on doing their own repairs, construction, and maintenance. Society called this inefficient and potentially dangerous, claiming that specialists could do better work. Research on self-efficacy and learned helplessness shows that personal competence and practical skills builds confidence, resilience, and mental health. Men who can build, fix, and maintain their environment experience lower anxiety and higher life satisfaction. Your grandfather was developing the practical competence that creates genuine self-confidence and independence. Number 2. Forming tight-knit male friend groups with clear loyalty bonds. Grandfathers maintained close friendships with other men based on shared work experiences and mutual respect. Society began promoting individual achievement and questioning traditional male bonding as potentially toxic. Research on male friendship patterns reveals that men need different social connections than women, focusing on shared activities and mutual support rather than emotional disclosure. Strong male friendships reduce suicide risk, improve cardiovascular health, and provide crucial social support during life challenges. Your grandfather understood that men need brotherhood, not just individual success. Number 1 is spending time in complete silence and solitude regularly. This is the most powerful grandfather habit that society completely abandoned. Grandfathers would sit quietly for hours, whether fishing, hunting, or just thinking, without any entertainment or distraction. Modern culture calls this boring and potentially depressing, promoting constant stimulation and social connection. Neuroscience research on meditation and contemplative practices proves that regular solitude rewires the brain for better focus, emotional regulation, and creative problem solving. Default mode network studies show that quiet reflection integrates experiences, builds wisdom, and enhances decision-making abilities. Your grandfather was practicing advanced meditation techniques that modern people pay thousands to learn. The ability to sit comfortably with your own thoughts without external stimulation is perhaps the most important skill for mental health and personal growth. These 25 banned life hacks from your grandfather's generation weren't just old-fashioned traditions. They were scientifically optimal practices that modern research is finally catching up to understand. Every single technique we covered today has been validated by current studies, proving that sometimes the wisdom of previous generations was far ahead of its time. The next time someone calls traditional masculine practices outdated, remember that science often takes decades to prove what grandfathers knew instinctively through experience and observation.